Welcome back. In today's episode, it is about what is inner child healing and the 5 signs you have a wounded inner child. This concept, this practice is something that I'm so grateful for discovering about probably like 7-8 years ago, thanks to one of my therapists. And funny thing about these kind of spiritual healing concepts, at the time, I wasn't ready for it yet, and I thought it was a bit too woo-woo. And it wasn't until 1 year later, from learning about it from my therapist, I dropped out of medical school, was living out of my car for 2 months, going through the USA, that I started practicing this inner child healing work, and I made a connection with my younger parts. Your inner child isn't just a concept. It is a younger emotional part that is still living inside of you as an adult today. And you may have heard about how the body keeps score, and we have cognitive memory, memories of the past, more visual, and we have emotional memory that is stored in the body. So understanding and healing this part of you can actually help you transform patterns, fears that you have been struggling with for many, many years. For me, this book called Homecoming by John Bradshaw, this is my inner child healing Bible, and I carry it around with me everywhere that I go. And right now I'm nomadic, but I'm based in Chiang Mai in Thailand, and I still carry this book around. It's kind of heavy. Inner child healing, as described by John Bradshaw, it is a therapeutic approach which recognizes that we all have wounded children inside, complete with unmet needs, frozen feelings, and unresolved wounds. This work isn't about indulging childishness, can't say that word. It's about reclaiming and reconnecting with our spontaneous, authentic, and creative parts that we might have suppressed because we had to survive our childhood and to protect ourselves. Our inner child isn't just a metaphor, or I'm not just speaking symbolically. It's actual neurological imprints that were formed during crucial developmental stages when we're younger. When we experience events that overwhelmed our young nervous systems, especially before we have developed language to process these events, these experiences get stored in the body and our unconsciousness, continuing to influence our adult behavior in ways that we're not conscious of. John Bradshaw's concept of a wounded inner child helps us understand how growing up in a dysfunctional family system, growing up with emotional neglect and or abuse has long-lasting impact and creates what's called toxic shame, a deep sense of being flawed or defected at your core. It's this constant nagging thought, I'm not good enough, I'm not blank enough. This toxic shame becomes internalized and drives adult behaviors like perfectionism, like control issues, like addictions, and relationship problems. Inner child healing involves what Bradshaw calls developmental grief work. Mourning, crying, and grieving for the childhood that you didn't get, that we all deserved. Grieving for parents that we all deserve, that we didn't quite get. And the developmental needs that didn't get met, that only our caretakers and our families can help us meet. This grieving process is essential because it allows you to finally acknowledge and feel the emotions that you weren't allowed and it wasn't safe to express as a child. True healing happens when we begin to reparent ourselves, providing for our inner child what our original caregivers they couldn't provide for us. This doesn't erase the past, but it does create new neural pathways and emotional responses. By finally giving to ourselves the unconditional love, validation, protection, and guidance that we needed, but we didn't get consistently. And what makes this work so transformative that I've experienced by myself personally, I have been guiding clients and students through the same transformation, is that it addresses the root cause of our behaviors, of our patterns, and not just managing symptoms. Because you're gonna need to feel to heal, and you can't heal what you can't feel. So by reconnecting and validating your inner child's experience, you finally integrate, piece together the parts of you so you can become an authentic whole adult today. And now, here are the 5 signs of a wounded inner child. The first sign is strong emotional reactions that seems out of proportion to the situation at hand. When something relatively small triggers an intense emotional reaction, it's usually your inner child reacting because what's happening now, it feels similar to past hurts. These reactions might look like sudden anger, anxiety, guilt, shutting down, a much bigger response than what seems appropriate for the situation. I really don't like the word overreacting because no one overreacts. We all react appropriately based off of our inner child who has come out now. So if you really got to know yourself, you really got to know the other person, their past, their hurt inner child, then it makes sense of why they are reacting like the way that they're reacting over something seemingly small. Second sign, people-pleasing patterns. I'm a recovering people pleaser, so this sign really hits home. If you find yourself always prioritizing other people's needs, their desires, their emotions over your own, and you are terrified of being judged negatively or other people feeling disappointed towards you, your inner child likely has learned that love, acceptance, approval is conditional. This pattern develops when a child learns that their worth is based on making other people happy, even at the expense of their own needs. Third sign of a wounded inner child is having a harsh, negative inner critic that doesn't shut up. Shut up! That constant voice that's never satisfied with your achievements and constantly points out your flaws often originates from experiences with critical caregivers with high expectations or perfectionistic standards. So our inner critic is like the worst part of our caregivers, maybe teachers that you had growing up, living rent-free inside of our heads. Your inner critic developed as a way to try to protect you by trying to make you perfect before others can criticize you. Yeah. Crazy mind. We have a crazy mind. Sign number 4, difficulty with trust and vulnerability. If you struggle to trust others or genuinely feel seen in relationships, it may be your inner child trying to protect you from experiencing the same disappointments again. When early relationships were unreliable or unsafe, or you might have lost loved ones at a very young age without adults who properly helped you understand death and life, your inner child very likely learned that vulnerability leads to pain. So it might be easier to just stay distant and never really connect and open up to humans. I lost my grandma, my dad's side, when I was 10 years old. It was very sudden. My parents tried to protect us by not really telling us, and I don't think they were emotionally capable of really guiding me, my brother, and my sister through that whole process. And it wasn't until I was like 20, 25, 24, when I dropped out of medical school, living out of my car for 2 months, I remembered my grandma, and I began to grieve and cry for losing her. And the crazy part was, this was like 15, 16 years later when I lost her at 10. So grief, there's no timeline, and there's no one way of grieving. And we all need to grieve, to heal, to integrate, to move on. The fifth sign of a wounded inner child is feeling emotionally stuck. So let me know if this is you. A lot of people, me included, and my students and my clients, describe that they feel like they're adulting on the outside, but feel much younger emotionally, especially in certain triggering situations and with certain people and in certain relationships, if this makes sense. This disconnect, I call it an arrested development. It happens when part or maybe most of your emotional development was interrupted when your needs weren't adequately met at specific developmental stages when we're a child, teenager, adolescent. In a future episode, I will break down the 5 developmental stages of our younger years. But for now, thank you. Thank you for being here. And thank you for going through this with me, because it's not easy stuff to begin becoming aware and reflecting and even starting to maybe connect with these wounded younger parts that have been living inside all along. Please remember, inner child healing work isn't about blaming or shaming or pointing fingers at our parents. It's about reclaiming the parts of us that got wounded and lost so we could become whole again. And there are many ways to heal. The way that I've been going through it, I even have developed my own method. It's through my 4-step butterfly transformation method. And I've been helping other students go through the same journey. And it's really about healing through 4 steps. Number 1, mastering your boundaries, having a solid relationship with yourself. Step 2, emotional intelligence and resilience training, really helping my students navigate their inner world of emotions. Step 3, this is the inner child healing and reparenting work. And then step 4 is kind of like the fun part, now really expressing their authentic self and improving emotionally mature communication. And I've been guiding and teaching and empowering my students and my clients through their own inner journey, transforming through each and every step of my butterfly method in my course, newly dropped, and in my community coaching programs and my one-on-one services. And if this is something that calls to you, please don't hesitate. Go and visit some of the links in the show notes. Please let me know in the comments which of these 5 signs do you resonate with the most? And remember, beginning to be aware of these signs isn't a time to judge yourself. It's actually a time to practice empathy, understanding, and compassion for yourself. So if this is new for you, you have a long way to go on your healing journey. And just know that you being here, watching this, learning about this, beginning to connect the dots, beginning to connect with your inner child, beginning to realize that they've been carrying these wounds for a very long time. Congratulations. You've taken a significant small step on your healing journey. And I really hope we can continue walking on this journey step by step together. I'm here for you. I'm here to support you if you need me. And I'll see you again soon.